And we are live. This is Travis from Trade with Travis, Carter Capital Expert Advisor Reviews on YouTube. I hope everybody's doing very well on this Thursday morning. I have 6:32 as we go through and be able to take a look at what's happening when it comes down to trading. Let me go ahead and get through the disclaimer, and then after that, show myself on the screen, and then after that, we'll start talking about what's happening in the market at this particular point. Not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. And understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So with that being said, get ready to show myself onto the screen, and also make sure that we end up opening up the economic calendar as we end up going through and getting everything else situated. Here we go. Let's see. Bam, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing very well. I have my green screen behind, but I don't have my green screen on. Give me one quick second. Let me get that out the way. And we'll go ahead and get started. Let me take that out the way real quick. But today is CPI data. We're taking a look at that today, being able to see what's happening with inflation. That is a high impact news. It's the biggest thing that's going to end up happening this week overall by far. And that's going to end up moving the market. The question is, how much is it going to end up moving the market? Because the United States dollar and a few other pairs have been stagnant, needless to be able to say. And based off of that overall movement, it has been affecting people that don't know how to be able to trade breakouts, or it's been making people very patient when it comes down to most of their overall trading ability throughout this month, or at least for the second week of the new year. Now, with that being said, not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that now when you end up taking trades going into today, we just got to be aware that this is going to end up being the thing that's going to end up making the market move. It's the only thing that we end up seeing from a high impact news thing that's going to end up happening today. And because of that, we have to be aware of how the market is going to end up interacting when it comes down to that movement overall. I need to get some stuff off of my screen real quick. Let's see. All right, cool. And gotta make sure my guys on the red brand are doing very well. Let's see. There we go. All right. So overall, 8:30 is going to end up being the news. It's going to end up being for CPI data. Currently, right now, it's expected. There's no real actual or consensus number at this particular point. They're expecting that it's going to end up being 0.3. Because we are in the new year, I am going to end up being kind of interested to see how this number is going to end up being evaluated. Is that going to end up being a little bit more inflation, or if we're going to end up seeing this number kind of stabilize? So something to be able to pay attention to overall. As we go through and kind of make sure that everything is kind of situated with that number. We will talk about that overall. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts and let's see what's actually happening from an overall charting perspective. If you're not familiar with what we end up doing here, we end up taking a look at the, okay. Oh, I was already on the page. There we go. We end up taking a look at the United States dollar index. We end up taking a look at oil. We end up taking a look at gold. We end up taking a look at Bitcoin. I'm going to start off with Bitcoin because Bitcoin ended up making this biggest move at this particular point. Moving forward, I'm going to write hi in the chat box. If you are here watching live, make sure that you end up getting into the conversation. Always good to be able to talk to everybody. If there's a pair that you like to be able to talk about, please make sure that you end up writing that inside of the comment section as well as we go through and get everything else situated. So if you do have a pair that you want to be able to talk about, place it in. Make sure that you end up saying, hey, don't be a stranger. And we end up going from there. So Bitcoin, we're going to talk about it from a daily perspective. Not going to go into the weekly because there's a lot of stuff that we can be able to talk about. But overall, what ended up happening in our previous time that we ended up speaking, which was on Tuesday, I believe, We ended up talking about how Bitcoin was in this range of 16,500 and 17,000 respectively. And it had just started to be able to break out of that overall position. And we said that once it ended up breaking out of that overall 17,000 position, then it was going to end up pushing up towards 18,240. Now, the reason why we felt that way and I felt so strongly about that was because basically what would happen is that it would end up turning past support into a future resistance. It is proven to be able to make this position happen a couple times. So I'm actually going to make this a little bit larger, and we're going to do this in blue for everybody to be able to see it. The market had went down. It ended up basically pushing back up to this position, went back inside of that consolidation, and then after that pushed back to 18,240. So this is a very simple position or a very simple area to be able to know that the market had to be able to reach that point first. So I actually ended up making it a very easy trade once we knew that the market ended up breaking out of that 17,000 area. Now, the question is, for the people that are watching live, raise your hand or tell me if you end up making profit off of this overall move, because we did talk about this as a opportunity of being able to get in once the market end up going inside of this triangle that we end up talking about right here. Inside of this position, we end up saying, hey, if you was interested in being able to make a move from there, look and see how the market was going to end up breaking out, because we knew that the market ended up breaking to the upside. There was a better chance of the market continuing to move to the upside based off of that movement. If you end up doing that, type in me, or if you end up profiting off of that move, type in me. Congratulations to each and every one of y'all as we end up making that move overall. I want to make sure that my sound is good. Somebody on the side of the chat, just do me a favor, type in and tell me if my sound is good overall. Just want to make sure I'm good with that as we do that. All right, now with that being said, the question is from a Bitcoin perspective, what's next? Where's the market going after this? And be able to make decisions on that. Let's go back to the hour and we'll end up going from there. What's going on, Brian? Hope everything's going well with you. What's going on, Checks? Hope everything's going well with you. Let's see. So market basically ended up doing another double top. It ended up hitting right here at this particular point, and it ended up doing the same thing right here at this particular point, basically at the same numbers. Now, if the market ends up breaking 18,240 and it turns past resistance into a future support, then after that, we have to start considering that this market is going to end up starting to push back up towards the 18,880 area, as the market has ended up finding that to be a new natural support. So once it breaks inside of that area, then after that, we can be able to go. Good morning, son. How you doing? You slept good. There we go. You want to say hey to everybody? Say good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
There we go. Come on, sit down. Turn the volume down. So 18,880 will probably end up being the next position where the market could potentially end up going, though, based off of the last consolidation that we end up having inside of that area. Just make sure that you end up looking at that as the next area. Now, if it breaks 18,880, then the next position will end up being the previous consolidation that we end up having from there, which would be 19,660. And then after that, obviously to the top of the resistance of 20,000, I think it was 20,500, which was, or 20,000, I'm going to say 20,360. But basically 20,500 will end up being the next area. So these are the next areas and the next positions where the market will have to be able to climb. I'm pretty sure my guys that have been here before, like Block and a few other people, are super excited about that movement that end up happening from there. Now let's talk about United States dollar index. Obviously, because the market has been kind of stagnant with CPI data, it was kind of hard to be able to make a decision on what the move was going to end up being. But we also end up having this trade that we end up placing in based off of that consolidation that we end up having. We knew that the market had a support at 12,814 and at 12,960 respectively. What we end up doing was placing in a sale order at 12,814 with a overall take profit of 12,626. Currently, the market is down at the. Currently, the market is actually inside of this area. We're in a profitable position, but this is my issue with this position currently right now as we stand. Type in a while yes if you can be able to see that the market has created another consolidation. Type in a while yes if you have noticed that the market has created another consolidation. I'm going to end up Changing that to a different color. Let's make that purple. Or no, let's not make it that color. Let's go. That matches up too much with what we have. Let's go blue. All right. I can say that overall, if we're taking a look at this, we can say that the market probably could turn around and continue to keep on going bearish. But I do know at 8:30, which is going to end up being in a little bit less than 2 hours, that the market is going to end up having some high impact news. So typically before high impact news, I get out of my positions because I always go based off the 15-minute rule. What's going on, Block? We just talked about Bitcoin. Did your systems end up doing very well based off of that push up to 18,240? I know we talked about it. But taking a look at this position currently as it stands, I'm going to end up taking my positions out. I'm going to go ahead and take profit on these positions right now. The sole reason why I'm doing that is because I don't like playing with high impact news and being inside of positions. Typically, my rule, and I say this for everyone that watches, is very simple. I have a hard 15-minute rule. I don't trade 50. I don't look at making any positions until 15 minutes after the news ends up coming out. So I end up knowing how the market behavior and how the players in the market kind of perceive what the actual move is. There's no reason for us to be able to stay in this overall pair and kind of hope that the market is going to end up moving to the downside without actually knowing that it is. So I would rather give up profit and know that, well, I'd rather take profit and give up potential profit knowing that I'm not putting myself into a bad position compared to just staying in the overall position overall. So I am going to go ahead and take profit on United States dollar index. I will wait for the market to be able to make its next movement. It wouldn't surprise me if going into the morning time, the market ends up doing something like this, pushing up to the upside. And if it is going to fall down, then after that, look at being able to fall down again before the news actually comes out. So we may have a better chance of being able to make a little bit more profit off of that. All right. So United States dollar index, taking profit off of that move, not going to do anything with that overall. We're done with that one at this particular point. U.S. oil. I will talk about the pairs and the trades that I am in with my Forex Fund Challenge, and obviously we have a couple people in here going through prop firm challenges as well. We just kind of see how everything's kind of going with that. Slow and steady wins the race, as they always say, and we'll see how everything will kind of end up playing out. Oil still inside of consolidation. There's no reason to be able to trade this one. I'm not even going to waste y'all time with oil. We're in the middle of a consolidation of $70 a barrel to $82.50 until the market ends up breaking out of one of those positions, and there's really no trade that we can be able to take. We're in a 33% zone, and I'm not interested in being able to trade in the 33% zone. All right, so I'm done with that one. Let's take a look at gold. Kind of curious to be able to see what's happening with gold because I haven't been paying attention to it as much since it ended up hitting the 1872 and I take profit. Yeah, these algos been sniping these trades. There we go. There we go. Nice. From a weekly perspective, gold has a strong correlation with the Japanese yen. Everybody, please keep that in mind as you take a look at these trades. I've been torn on this pair, and I think I've said this before, Brian. The weekly's in the sell zone. The daily's getting close to the sell zone. Typically, that means that you're going to see a transition trade. We have high impact news that's going to end up happening a little bit later on today, and there was a D extension that was about to be completed on this overall move. So we end up making our money from that 1872 position once the market ended up hitting that spot. Currently, right now, if you take a look at the daily D extension, the daily D extension is at 1891. Currently, at this particular point, that is very close to being hit. Currently, the market is at 1885. For a risk reward standpoint, there's really no reason to be able to get into this trade unless you was already in from that overall standpoint. So I'm going to stay away and watch how the CPI data kind of affects this overall market. Then after that, look at being able to make a new position. So gold, not going to do anything. The reason why we end up saying 1872 was because that 1872 was the previous consolidation that the market ended up going into before breaking out of this consolidation that was in purple. Now I can get rid of this consolidation that's in purple and the one that's in yellow. Now I'm going to keep those. I just keep those for my records. But we can get rid of this right here. Any questions as we go through? Any pairs that anybody would like for me to take a look at as we go through this? Okay. Now, I have a close eye on Euro United States dollar. Let's see. I'm going to look at that on TradingView. Euro United States dollar has been inside of a very tight consolidation. Finally, end up breaking out of that consolidation. Or that's US 30. Let's go with Euro United States dollar. Then we go back to that pair. Okay. From our overall trading perspective, if you're not familiar with the Vortex strategy, I'm going to end up breaking it down very simply. Vortex strategy is really based off of looking at high volume nodes and consolidation and not being able to trade inside of high volume nodes. Very simply put, for the people inside of the room, I want you to write this right back to me. I will not trade inside of a high volume node. Simply put, I want everybody to write that. I will not trade inside of a high volume node. If you're inside of this room, simply put, I'm going to save you money right now. I literally want you to write, I will not trade in a high volume node. If you don't understand what I truly mean by that, I'm going to break that down very simply real quick. Anytime that you end up trading inside of a high volume node, typically you're going to end up seeing a cluster of trading or basically consolidation. Anytime that you end up seeing consolidation, you only have a 33% chance of being able to win that trade inside of that overall consolidation area. There's no reason to trade inside of consolidation areas because you do not have a chance. You really do not have a very good chance of being able to win. I always go back and I end up saying you want to be able to have you want to be able to trade like trade like you're at a casino, right? And when it comes down to being in a casino, you always say that the house always wins. Well, why do the house always wins? The house always wins because it always puts itself into a position to where it always has the advantage. Well, if you trade inside of a high volume node, you do not have the advantage. You're trading with everybody else that does not know what is actually happening with the actual move. So you do not have a direction to be able to win. So there's no reason to trade inside of any type of high volume node when it comes down to that trading. High volume node consolidation typically happens all of the time. Now, where you end up making your money when it comes down to trading these positions, it's actually trading inside of the gaps of the low volume nodes. I'm giving away this strategy for everyone right here inside of this class, and I've done it since the summertime, and we've done very well since being able to understand and recognize what has been happening based off of this. Once you end up identifying where the support and resistance is, just like how you end up trading supply and demand, you will end up noticing that there will be gaps or low volume nodes of spacing in between. That is the areas where we like to be able to trade. The reason why we end up trading those areas is because we're not fighting with nobody. We already know who won the direction when it came down to the movement, and all we're doing is just trading with the actual players that actually end up winning that actual position. So this large gap that end up happening right here is the actual move that we're actually looking at being able to take advantage of. Same deal right here. After you end up having a high volume node, you end up having a low volume node that has a little bit of space and a gap in between. After that, you end up seeing consolidation once again. And it keeps on building up over and over and over again. I can show you from the summertime that happens over and over and over again, especially during the summertime when you end up having those big movements. So the simple thing that I end up telling everybody, whether if you have seen me inside of this classroom once, or you've been watching me for the last 6 to 8 months, or for some of the people that when I first got started doing this and talking about this overall strategy, there's no reason to trade inside of high volume nodes. There's always reasons to be able to take advantage of low volume nodes and gaps and spaces because it's unfair market prices. And those unfair market prices allow you to be able to make money off of those movements. So let's go back to what we just talked about. Inside of consolidation, we see the consolidation. We know where our trade should be placed in at. Our trade should have been placed in at 107.59. As soon as the market ends up breaking 107.59, then after that, the gap in between goes all the way up to 108.41. Now, let me prove that to you real quick. There's a little bit of social proof. And once again, from a social proof standpoint, you can look at my ideas on TradingView. You can see that we've been talking about these trades all of the time. There's a large gap of overall space in between the overall buyers and sellers when it comes down to volume right inside of this area right here. Everybody typing a Y, yes, if you can be able to see that there's really no volume or very little volume compared to the high volume node between here and here. Type in a while, yes, if you can be able to see that. I know I'm teaching instead of actually talking about trades, but I'd rather go ahead and talk about it now because it gives everybody a chance to be able to understand where I'm coming from. So essentially, what we want to be able to do is take advantage. Essentially, what we want to be able to do is take advantage of this overall position. The high volume, the indicator is the volume profile. Volume profile weighted average, I believe. Let's see. I forgot I stopped showing my actual indicators. Let's see. It's called VRPR. If you end up taking a look at VRPR, you end up seeing it. VRPR, you end up seeing it. You can go to indicators. Once you end up going to indicators, you can go to, if I remember correctly, indicators, volume profile. Bless you, son. Bless you, son. And then after that, visible range volume profile. Visible range volume profile. Okay. Once you end up seeing that actual space in between, essentially what you can be able to do is basically look at your trades and very simply put, once again, giving away the strategy doesn't matter at this particular point. I rather everybody have the education to be able to make money together compared to just having the knowledge by myself. You want to get out right before the next high volume node. If you end up doing that, you will increase your overall trading percentage and sniper rating when it comes down to swing trades and get over that 40% mark when it comes down to that position. So I take profit position on this one is at 108, 108.40. You want to be safe, get out at 108.35. We know that high impact news is going to end up happening today, so it would not surprise me that this market may end up fulfilling this overall position today, just because we know that news is actually going to end up coming out. Okay, so once again, please take advantage of those overall positions. Know where the market is going to end up going, and then because you know where the market is going to end up going in the free lane space that you have before everybody else gets into the market, you're saving yourself and you're making cash a little bit faster than everybody else. So we do have a trade in currently right now at this particular point. I am in profit at this point, but right now I'm just going to end up staying. Right now, I might end up taking profit and kind of waiting to see how everything kind of plays out. Let's see. Who do you understand this indicator? Are you asking how do I notice? How do I understand this indicator? To be honest, case studies. I'll pull up one of my case studies that I end up having. Matter of fact, I'll pull up one of the case studies that I end up doing on this one over the summertime. And I'll link it to what we end up doing. It'd be real quick. Let's see. Where's it at? There we go. I have two case studies. We're going to show the one on pound yen as an example. This is the older case study, but it's still the same. Now, once again, not foolproof. I'm not going to say that it's 100% profitable, but the trading strategy that we go along with that and the way that we end up trading it puts it at a point to where once you end up winning, you can be able to win at a very consistent level based off of that. All right, cool. Let's go into US 30 real quick. And with US 30, we actually end up talking about one of those trades that actually end up happening based off of that movement. So last time we ended up taking a look at, I was thinking about that TP, but I wanted to be 100% automated. I feel the same way, Brian. I had all of the manual trades that I've thought about. I have not placed inside of. I have not done with the prop firm challenges. I have not. I placed it inside of my other accounts, but I have not done it with the prop firm challenges. I'm letting Boss and Boss Band do it by themselves. They have to prove that they can do it by themselves, or they will prove that they can do it by themselves. All right. So Dow Jones had a consolidation range of 32,830 with a resistance of 32,430 or 32,440. Once the market ended up breaking out of that area, we end up having that gap in between here. Once again, market ends up having this big spot once it ends up breaking out of resistance. It's kind of like seeing a car crash, being stuck in the traffic, and then once you end up getting past the car crash, you had that free lane of space. That's exactly what ended up happening. Big movement that ended up happening from this overall area. Ended up making about 140 points. Literally within right around 2 to 3 hours based off of that movement. Now, we end up talking about a second position when it came down to this. Once this market ended up breaking this high volume node right above 33,882. Currently, I'm in that trade. As we go through, there is a take profit position on this one right at 34,100. Currently, the market's at 33,980 and slowly starting to climb up a little bit. Once again, because this inflation data that's about to end up coming out, I am probably going to end up taking profit off of this one as we end up moving forward from that position. So please keep that in mind. But I do see that the market has broken another counter trend line break. We'll take a look at it based off of 15-minute. And we can see that things like the VWAP and everything else is still considered to be bullish. So it wouldn't surprise me if the market continues to keep on making a bullish trend overall. But I will be safe and play it safe when it comes down to inflation data. Inflation data has made the market move 500 to 600 points. 300 to 500 points over the course of the last 2 months based off of that news, especially in August. Well, August and October, there was a lot of movement when it came down to that. So I'm going to stay away from those positions. I probably will look at being able to take profit off of those. Let's see. What is happening with the expert advisors? Speaking of that, literally just took a trade. Boss just took a trade on US 30. Should have already hit on that one. End up going from 34,031. End up getting out about 4 to 5 points away when it came down to that movement. Hopefully I can be able to see that with every other account. When it came down to that. Good movement off of that one. Let's talk about what's happening with the FX Skywalker. FX Skywalker actually ended up taking a sale based off of this, based off of the Ikimoku cloud and the breakout. It's pushing down to the downside currently right now at this particular point. Profit has not locked in yet, but I'm going to go ahead and do that now. There's no reason to sit up there and not lock in profit. Off of that move. Okay, cool. So got those out the way. Anything else that y'all like to be able to talk about? Any other pair that y'all like to be able to talk about? I got a couple more minutes. Any other pair that y'all like to be able to talk about at this particular point? Does the EA have a trail stop? Which one? The one that you just looked at? Yes. To answer your question, yes, it has a partial take profit mode as well. But once again, I'm going back to what I ended up talking about with the overall news. I'm not putting myself into bad positions. So I will probably, even though I know that the system will handle everything, I think I might end up manually taking some off the top just to be safe. Anybody else with a trading pair that you would like to be able to talk about before we get out of here? Okay, good to go. Now, if you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. Also, for the people that are watching on the Red Bread, make sure that you end up clicking on that like button. As it obviously allows us to be able to get visible or be more visible to other people as we end up going through. Thank y'all for being able to watch this overall live stream and everything else. Our night session, we will not have a night session tonight. Still trying to get a lot of content in and trying to make sure that we end up getting everything situated with these algos. I want them to be 100% perfect. I know that you will never make it 100% perfect, but kind of like what Block always says, you got to keep on trying. You got to keep on trying to do it until you can be able to do it 100% automated. But like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. Everybody, yeah, have a good one. Take it easy.